It is June 22nd, 2020. This is the garden, and I'm just going to do a quick overview of what's happening. All right, so we start at this path here, and on the inside we have geraniums, and then there are eggplants, and after the eggplants there are stevia right there, and white sage and basil. And then on this side we have our perennials, things that either I'm going to dig out or I'm going to just leave them and they'll come back next year. So there is iris. That didn't bloom this year. There's some creeping phlox on the bottom there. There's a lot of weeds. This is a peony that did not bloom also, but was like first year. So this is lamium down here. And then there's a bunch of dahlias thrown in all around. And hopefully I'm going to label them properly and then save them like I did last year. This is a bridal wreath spirea. And that one I bought this year didn't bloom either. All right. We have foxglove here. There's a clematis there. They're starting to get buds. Let's see if we can. Yep, starting to get buds on them. And this was supposed to fill up this whole fence, and it's not doing that great. So anyway, it's first year, so we'll see. Next year will be better. These guys here are poppies. They're white poppies. They have not bloomed yet. That's thyme. That's coconut thyme. And then there's some creeping thyme also between here and here and here. And hopefully that will fill out. And so I said foxglove. And then we have lamb's ear there. And then we have the delphiniums that are amazing. And some daisies right there. This one here is a jasmine. It's called night jasmine, and it's supposed to get white flowers on it and bloom at night. And there's 3 of them. 1, 2, and at the next post as well, 3. So I was hoping you could walk along here and in the evening and get hit with the night jasmine flower scent, but I don't think it's not ready yet. So all right, so past the night jasmine we have more dahlias all in the front there, and then it's backed by nasturtiums, and I was hoping that those would grow all the way up too, and hopefully they will. Behind a lot of the plants that are growing up, I have ivy planted, and one day maybe it'll take over the fence and then it'll stay green all winter as well. So I like that, but nothing. It's very little new growth. That little bit at the end is all the new growth that there was so far since we planted it out, and it's not that much. Okay, all right, next we have artichokes here, 3 of them, and another clematis, a pink one, flanked by dahlias, of course. And let's see on this side. Okay, so we got 2 rows of potatoes, and then we've got 2 rows of peppers. There's a parsley in the front and a bee balm, I think, or a bergamot. And then these are peppers. The tall ones at the end we bought a lot earlier, and they even had peppers when we planted them out. So, and then these guys we just purchased later, or we grew. I think 4 of them germinated of ours. So there's 4 of ours in there. Let's see. This is beans. Beans in this row, peas in this row, and then it turns to celery. Okay, next to those is zucchini. That whole row is zucchini. Only the yellow zucchini germinated, so I have a lot of yellow zucchini this year. And we replanted green zucchini, and some of them may come up. I think there's 2 of them. No green zucchinis yet though. All right, up on this fence here, that fence there, it's full of cucumbers. That whole fence. All right, and back on the side we have some more dahlias, and that's a honeysuckle, red honeysuckle, that guy. More dahlias, And we have lavender, 3 plants of lavender, and black-eyed Susan, and lamb's ear again, a different kind, it's like woolly lamb's ear, and another clematis going up there. And let's see, I have echinacea here, and at the bottom is St. John's wort in that kind of U shape around with the weeds interspersed. It's going to have yellow flowers, and I guess they don't come out until maybe July, so we'll see that. Purple fountain grass, it was supposed to get big, it's really not very big. I have morning glory going against the back fence there. That'll come up with blue flowers. There are climbing roses there, and the same on that side of the corner with the excuse me, rose trellises. And in the back I have a redbud tree, and there's some green coleus there, green and yellow coleus, and then that guy is a black elderberry. It's supposed to get really big, we'll see. There's some more black-eyed Susans here, and this one I can't remember, the creeper on the bottom. Oh, I remember it all the time, but I don't remember it right now. No, don't remember. Okay. But it's really nice. It's filled in. That was only 3 plants, and it's just like taken over like crazy. I love it. This is a sedum, and that was here, and I moved it from the other side of the garden way over there, basically at the front of the greenhouse there. It was just one plant sitting there with a rhubarb. All right, so these guys are pansies. So, yeah, there we go. There's a kale or a collard in there, and there's some more morning glory that came over. I'm gonna push it back. We got more pansies and more delphiniums. Like that. It's kind of a repeat, a little bit of repeat. There's the red fountain grass. Then we hit dahlias. These are purple dahlias, I hope. They're gonna all be the same and all be purple. I'm really hoping. This guy's stalks, purple stalks, pink stalks. They were random, so I didn't know what color they were when I planted them, but we seeded those. There's a ring of more stalks, and there's this really cool plant that Sasha made me buy that's like really like purpley outline. It's really pretty and strange and psychedelic. Like the underside of the leaf is like super purple. Yeah. So anyway, I don't know what it's called because it was a weird garden center we went to and they didn't have tags, but it's probably tropical. Anyway. Okay, more dahlias. These are the red dahlias. I was kind of doing a rainbow across the fence. So these guys are purple, these guys are red, next are orange, next are supposed to be yellow, but like there's this one red one right there that it's not supposed to be red, so it was supposed to be yellow. Anyway, that always something goes wrong with when you try and do a theme like that. All right, so, oh yeah, over here, now this is in this area behind the cucumbers. All those are just seedlings on a cart waiting to be put in the ground. So across from there, there's this cute little island of things that I had to plant. So we have a king tut grass, it's supposed to grow really tall. There's a sweet grass that I can put in braids and burn like incense. There's a red coleus there, and there. These guys are called heliotrope. I think they are purpley pink flowers. Yeah, they're growing really well. I've planted them from seed. Okay, there's some marigolds back there, and there's some more dahlias in this corner here. And they all had tags that said pink, and this one is not pink, it's yellow. So, I don't know, some of my tags were off. My labeling system was not good this year. All right. Oh yeah, and over here, so this is that little garden, and over here we have corn growing up here in it's supposed to be 4 rows of corn, and then there's hollyhocks and cosmos along there. So just 3 lines. And those all, I seeded all of those myself and grew them in the greenhouse and then transplanted them. All right, so here's our orange garden, and it is directly across from the barn, up the center aisle. So we're at the center aisle, and that's the orange. There are all peach dahlias and apricot pansies and marigolds. Going along here, I planted a bunch of sunflowers from seeds, so that's what those guys are, and they'll get really big, and they will actually be yellow, so that's supposed to be my yellow panel. And with my one red dahlia, and that means that probably the others are red too, which is sad. Okay, the green one, the green panel is cucumbers, and they're doing okay. They look like they're struggling. There's a lot of weeds around them. And those were supposed to grow all the way up the fence. Those are pickling cucumbers. And then the blue garden that's actually doing like the best is a whole bunch of borage. And underneath here, there's some lobelia between each plant, but every time I come and cut back the plants, they just grow back over the lobelia. So now the lobelia is like gone. You have to find it. So I'm gonna have to, I don't know. It needs light though, so I'm gonna probably trim back the borage leaves again. See what happens. All right, here's the composter that we made. We have 2 piles of compost. And we're just trying to keep them equal. So if we throw something in one, we throw it in the other one. And my watering can. Just up the side right now is pretty unfinished. It's just grass. There's a wisteria tree here that was supposed to get big. And then there's some vine-like forsythia on that last one. So I just had extra plants and I stuck them in there, and then I've been tacking them to the fence. All right, let's see. From the compost looking back, is that view. And the first bed here is herbs. It's a lot of mints, and there's some calendula, which will be orange flowers. And then we go into like the thyme and the sage and the rosemary and all of that. And that's Sasha's request. He asked for me to put together a solid herb garden where he can pick herbs for dinner. Then we have a row of dahlias, and I had just weeded all those weeds, just came out of there today, so I didn't clean off the path, but that's usually just a blank path there. All right, so there's the dahlias, and behind the dahlias are tomatoes. There's some tall, indeterminate types. We're just gonna try and figure out what to do to stake them up so we can drag them up with a string. So we have the strings, and we just need to build something. We bought the wood today. And then after that, you get the shorter tomatoes that are the determinate tomatoes, and those guys are all, the rest of them are all determinate tomatoes, because I didn't want to deal with staking up a whole bunch of tomatoes. But these ones here are called Bonnie Best tomatoes, and I just felt like they were actually going to be the best, so I got fooled by the label, but we will see what happens. All right. It was really hot, and Bumba's black fur was just really hot, so we gave her a little haircut, and now she's white. Let's see, Bumba. Yeah, it looks terrible. But all her hair is white on the bottom and black on the tips. And so, anyway, that's what she looks like now. We'll see how she grows back. She doesn't know that it looks bad yet. Okay, so here we are back in the middle path. Here's the middle path. And right now there's that pile of white stuff that really is a white tarp covering a pile of compost mixed with wood chips, like the wood chips that we're lining the pathway with here. And that's mushroom compost mixed with wood chips, and it looks really nutritious. We've been just starting to put it onto some of the plants, like the zucchini and the potatoes. See how they have that darker black mushroom compost on there? And then these guys have it mixed with the wood chips, and so it's kind of like less intense compost, but looks like it'll also keep the weeds down, so that's really good. All right, so here we are, tomatoes, tomatoes, tomatoes. Then we have kale, and then we have cilantro, which has gone to seed, and so that's kind of looking really frilly now. And then we have Asian greens that all went to flower, and arugula that all went to flower, and like actually it looks really pretty, just like in the garden, but I have to take them out, otherwise they're just going to make seeds, and then they're just going to reseed themselves, but also the weeds will reseed themselves. So I just have to get them out of there before the weeds make seeds. And then we have another one of kale, and I think that'll be good for cutting kale for a while. At the end, you see there's a bare spot. That used to be peas. A lot of them got drowned out or didn't germinate, so we just tilled everything under, and now we have garlic planted there. And that's in that bare spot. And then here's chives and gladiolas, and more chives on the other side. And then I did a dahlia mix. It was like 4 dahlias on the corners. They were all supposed to be pink. Now 3 of them are pink, and one of them's peach. Anyway, but they're just hanging out there. Then there's this big pile of mint that came with the place. And there, it was kind of a U shape, so I stuck this planter in here, and that planter is strawberries on the bottom and telephone pole peas coming up there. And they're just starting to flower, so I should be able to get peas happening off of those guys. And you can see the strawberries there. They're already making lots of strawberries. This is a blackberry bush, that's Sasha's. And then there's this planter here. That's a clematis all the way up. And then we have pansies on both sides, and strawberries that are also climbing strawberries. And then the creeping thyme, and on the other side there's coconut thyme. And in the middle there's basil, and I just planted that because I pulled out a lettuce. Then I have my planter pots. These are zinnias and dahlias and geraniums all the way around there. And then we have calendula in these 2 pots as well. And then, oh, this is one. These ones, I think Tamas is really proud of all of this. This is like all these different types of kale that take, like, our all-season kale, and they take a long time to grow. So there's black kale, green kale, and curly kale, and red kale. And then there are all these lettuces that look a lot like weeds because we just harvested a ton of these lettuces and left all the weeds. So, but Tamas has always wanted to grow heads of lettuce, so these heads of lettuce. And then big ones in there. They're like almost done now. So we have to eat lots of lettuce. All right, the greenhouse. So there's the structure. It's gonna have a skin sometime this week. We're gonna cover it over. This is how it looks without the skin. And there's still some of the channel lock and the zigzaggy things. Can't remember the name of those. Okay. And Tamas just got this other big pile of mulch as well. So I was leveling the ground because it's actually significantly slanted. And you almost have to come up 6 inches on this side. So I don't know if you can see that. It's pretty tall. It's like 6 inches of mulch there. And then at the other end, it's just a little bit of mulch. So I tried to level that out. It's not fully level yet, but it's getting there. And then we ran out of mulch, so we had to get this other big pile that I'm gonna have to start putting in here. But it feels really nice and soft. This is all the stuff from the greenhouse, extra pieces, and all those bags are full of shade cloth that we coated the fence in. Oh, there's Bamba up there on the compost. All right. And back to the barn. And we did a seating area here. Tamas bought a bunch of wood, and Sasha and him and I all stacked it up against the fence there. It gives an extra level of privacy. And then we put up this furniture here, and we get the cushions out of the van. They live in the van. And then we have a little shade garden back here. And this is the ginseng. It's like supposed to be foresty conditions, so I think this is pretty foresty. And on the other side of here is that shade garden that I sent pictures of. I'll put pictures in there. Yeah, so it's right through there. And there we go. And that is the end of the garden tour.